Welcome back to another episode of the Pin High Podcast presented by Pin High Media. This week we're going to talk about Tom Hoge's win at the AT&T over in Pebble Beach and his flaming hot start to this season. Some international golf talk, some winners and losers as always, and we're going to cap it off with picks for the People's Major, the Waste Management Phoenix Open. So let's get into it.
This is Jordan Spieth here, and
this is the Pin High Podcast.
Let's get inside the ropes, start the week. Tom Hoge, I feel like he's been knocking at the door ever since we started this podcast. Like, I feel like he'll like throw in like a first round leader every now and then, or like you'll see his name top of the leaderboard like on like Thursday or Friday, but hasn't gotten it done until this week at Pebble Beach.
Yeah, not the flashiest name out there. I mean,
No.
you think Tom Hoge, kind of a boring guy, it seems like on the outside, which whatever. A lot of his friends were on social media this week, and it was actually hilarious. He has like friends.
Richard Bland.
He has friends that are just
a lot younger than Richard Bland, though.
He has friends that are crazy. Like he had a bunch of friends were posted on social media this week, just like really getting hammered, like for his win.
Really?
There was one guy who like literally opened like a full like 6-pack of beers and like poured it all over himself for Tom Hoge, which is so weird because like Tom Hoge doesn't seem like that type of guy, but I guess his friends are. So there's that.
I mean he's 32 years old and his just like talking about
only 32.
He's only 32, but like his grind, his like I called him a grinder and I just realized that was kind of a joke because he's a sandwich and Hoagie's a sandwich. But he was like in 2017, he's like 400th like in the world, and even last year, I mean, or even a couple of years ago, 2019, he was 300th in the world, and now he's all the way up to 39. I think that's right.
After and he's like the type of
a grinder on tour.
Yeah, and he's the type of guy who like will have a lot of top 20, top 10 finishes, but also get cut a lot. So he's just like all over the map when you're looking at like he doesn't really make a lot of cuts in a row. Like even he missed the cut last week at the Farmers.
Yeah, he won last 4 weeks where
he was second at the American Express, but he missed the cut at the Sony. So it's like every other week he's playing well.
And T4 before that a couple months earlier, but still. Yeah, but no, I mean watching his putt on, he hit the shot in 16 that was that close to going in, and made the putt. Well, once he made the putt on 17 after Jordan made bogey, like you thought, like that was basically like I mean I think I could speak for all of us. We were all cheering for Jordan Spieth. I think a lot of the golf world was. I
also had him in my picks.
Yeah, you did, of course. And seeing Jordan bogey that hole and then Hoagie make birdie, you're like, all right, that's a wrap. That's basically it. But credit, I mean, he made that putt. It was like a 25 foot putt. Yeah. After hitting that shot in 16, and he made birdie on 18 too. So credit for him for sealing the deal with that tournament, with the way he finished.
I think Tom Hoge has played well at the Waste Management in the past too. I feel like I remember him being up there like a first round leader talk like at the first round one year. It might have been even last year, the year before, because it was definitely during the time that the podcast has been alive. And this is our third Waste Management as a podcast.
Yeah, so he got cut last year, but he opened with a 66. So
okay,
so maybe that's
66, 74.
How do you shoot 66 and go again 66?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, the year before that, T25, he opened up with 65, 71, 67, 72.
What is this, par 71? This course?
I believe so. So
I think there's 3 par 5s. So
yeah, I mean, he could play well again this week, but if he's going on like recent form and how he's been like the recent trend, he's probably gonna get cut this week, and then he'll finish top 5 next week again.
Yeah, I think the move might be to take a first round matchup bet on him and then just fade him in the second round.
Might not be a bad idea.
Which whatever. If you're looking at his stats right now to open the season, he's 5th in strokes gain approach. That's elite. Like if you could finish the season at 5th strokes gain approach, that's like you don't think of Tom Hoge as a big approach guy, but
I mean, killing it in strokes gained
Yeah,
approach.
and he just stripes the ball.
Last week he was 1.83 shots gained approach and 2.64 shots gained putting after not he didn't really have the whole season before that. He didn't really have a great like putting week even remotely close to that. But he's been consistently right around or above at least one shot gained approach. Like he's a great approach player.
That's fifth strokes gained approach in 28 measured rounds. So like ahead of him, there's Colin Morikawa, which is only 8 measured rounds. Matt Fitzpatrick, only 2 measured rounds. Russell Henley, 21 measured rounds, and Will Zalatoris, 15 measured rounds. Those are the top 5.
And he was not doing this last year.
Exactly.
Like,
so
approach.
He must have figured it out.
He might have, yeah.
Something. So, whichever, we say that every week. But
did you hear Jordan Spieth's quote about Hoagy and how he's like, or I think it was maybe from a few years ago, which is kind of funny. But I think Jordan Spieth said that he knew Hoagy is going to win. He knows Hoagy's going to win one day, and like they never really even played golf or talked together, all because they played craps one night at a I don't even know where. And Jordan Spieth said because he's good, he plays like competitive in craps, so he won't back down when it gets down to crunch time.
I never saw that.
I saw someone posted on Twitter.
I saw Tiger. Someone asked Tiger.
Yeah.
Tom Hoge is, and he goes, "What's that?" Not who's that. He goes, "What's that?" I mean,
what's that?
Or who? I don't know.
Yeah, he kind of fits the profile of like the average golfer on tour, if that makes sense. Like if you had to put together like a creative player golfer, I think we said this about somebody else a couple weeks ago. Like Tom Hoagy's kind of one of those guys.
The thing is with Tom Hoge is like, if you've been watching golf so far this year, it really doesn't surprise you that he won this week. Right. He's been playing good golf. Like it's something that we've witnessed throughout 2022 so far.
Exactly. So, I have the quote from Spieth is, "Let me tell you about Tom Hoge. When he gets in contention, he will not back down. Hoge says, my only connection with Jordan is I taught him how to play craps," Hoge said. And 2 weeks later in Mexico, Spieth was reminded of the conversation in Hawaii. How would he know what to expect from Hoge if he's ever played golf with him? Because that's how he plays craps, Spieth said. That's an interesting. He seems like a competitor, which is really cool to see.
I mean, yeah, you want to transition into Jordan Spieth then? I mean, it kind of looked like it was his tournament for much of the Sunday. Yeah, I don't know what else to really say. It kind of just got away from him.
Well, that putt that he missed on 17 is just one of those putts that I feel like he always misses. Because he is such a good putter, obviously. But those small little like 4 footers that are a little bit like testy, I feel like when it matters, I always see Jordan missing those.
I think I saw a stat though, or they said it after he missed that. Like that's like the first one he had missed in like the whole tournament, like inside that range or something like that.
I bet in the tournament, but I feel like when I've been rooting for Jordan Spieth down the stretch, like in a tournament, and maybe not even down the stretch, maybe even on a Saturday, he just like always sneaks in and misses one of those, and it's I'm not like banging on him that
that's just
because he's one of the best players on the planet, but
of course that's just the Spieth roller coaster that we've been on for years.
Like if that hole didn't really surprise you with Spieth, but honestly, when you watch something like that, you're like, well, he'll probably just come back and eagle this hole on 18.
Like I honestly expected him
there either.
I honestly expected him after he missed that putt. I'm like, all right, he's gonna make birdie on 18 at least. Like that's just the way he is. But he's also, I feel like the past few years he hasn't had that kind of like killer mentality. He's been in these tournaments, and he hasn't, like he was in contention at Pebble last year, and he wasn't able to kind of like close it out. Obviously at the Open, that was Colin Morikawa was awesome, but he wasn't able to close that out. He hasn't had like that one true like like, all right, I'm going to close this out. Like, there's not going to leave any doubt. I'm going to make every putt I look at. And he hasn't had that moment yet still. Like,
But it kind of does feel like last year when he went on that run of like a lot of top fives in a row,
Yeah.
and then all of a sudden he wins an event. Like maybe that's something that could happen again this year.
I think
You
it
know,
can,
he
yeah.
comes knocking on the door for a couple events in a row, and then all of a sudden he comes out.
Yeah,
to win.
like last year, even at Pebble Beach and Waste Management, I think back-to-back weeks last year too. It was kind of, I think it was flip-flopped actually the schedule, but it was.
Yeah, it was, I think.
And both those weeks he was in position to win, and he couldn't slam the door. And I think that's, hopefully we see another, maybe he gets another win, and that kind of releases that stress, and maybe he gets done a major, like the Masters. Who knows?
The
Who did I
Players is
say
coming
last
up.
week was going to have the same type of thing as Jordan going during this stretch of golf?
What was it?
I said somebody was going to like have the Jordan Spieth sort of emergence during this stretch of golf. Who was it?
Jason Day?
Or
Was
Jason
it Jason
Day.
Day?
Jason
It was
Day,
Jason
yeah.
Day.
Yeah.
Speaking of Jason Day,
Oh yeah, God.
and Trevor, he kind of blew it for you guys.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
was
he
like
screwed us.
He hadn't finished outside the
what was
top
he,
20 in how long again?
It was like
since like 2013.
yeah, it was like 7 or 8 straight tournaments.
And
I think.
and he was like T5 going into like the last like at one point in the final round, and I don't even know.
I think he just needed to be. I think he needed to play 1 over golf for the day, and he would have been inside the top 20. He ended up 2 over for the day, T24. So that shows you how it worked out for us. But
hey, that's just, I mean, my betting luck so far in this podcast is
overall
good.
AT&T Pebble Beach. I think it sucks when they have the 3 courses. I'm
I
not
think it
gonna
does
lie,
too.
like I didn't watch a ton of golf the first 3 days of the tournament. I watched like I watched a bit on Saturday, like a good amount on Saturday, but Thursday and Friday just didn't have too much appeal to me. I mean, I might have tuned in briefly.
Well, can we
and
talk
I watched
about
all of Sunday, but like,
yeah,
I mean, yeah, I have a couple of things about Spieth just to say. Now, first
Mhm.
off, I mean, we can't mention Spieth without mentioning the shot that he hit.
yeah,
The shot that like we might have been talking about Jordan Spieth not being here this week. I mean, the fact that he tried to even attempt that shot is a little crazy. I mean, yeah, I mean, just walk us through that.
the whole like the overhead shot of it, like where you see him, like it's like it's very 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 far away. It looks like even from like the blimp. Like that's really cool, but it doesn't do it justice. Like how he's like on a downslope and how steep that drop is, and like you see like the camera that's level with Spieth, and like he's literally like leaning down like toward the canyon. And I heard a quote from Greller that he said if next time if a situation like that happens again, like he's taking his ball and throwing it in the canyon so he can't hit it again. But that was absolutely, I mean, yeah, like literally like might not have been
par too. So
yeah, didn't he hit the flag the next shot? Was that maybe I'm wrong. I didn't watch that round.
I know it was a different
hole. Okay.
Yeah.
Still
down the stretch, it was like 14 or 15 or something. They hit the bird.
Yeah,
but
if he didn't save par on that shot, it's almost like not worth it at all. I mean, it still probably wasn't worth it in the end, but like the fact that he saved par on that with like a pretty long putt.
I'd almost compare it. Do you remember when Frank and Mike posted the video at City Field doing the golf?
Yeah,
from, like,
I've
the
done
top
that
of the
before.
They're like not really like leaning forward on like finishing through.
It's actually kind of scary. I've done it. Yeah, it's like there's like a mat and stuff, and it's just kind of like an open section of the stadium. And if you take one step off of that, you're falling down like a couple stories.
Yeah.
And yeah, you get up there and you're like, it doesn't look bad when other people are hitting from there, but like when you get up there and you're hitting, you're like, wow, I'm kind of high up. Wow, I'm about to make a golf swing, and wow, I might like fall like 5 stories onto the field. So,
but like it's like that's the funny thing. It's like if you're on I mean, granted, if you're on a Jordan Spieth is not on a flat lie, but if you're on a flat lie and like something's in front of you, like you don't want to lean forward, but at the same time, it's like if you should
at the driving range.
No, you
but it's
absolutely unless you're taking like a super aggressive swing, which you never would in a situation like that. Like you you're not like you're gonna keep your balance. Like you like unless you like
You just
whiff or something
lose
like
your
that.
footing. Like you could lose your footing kind of easily on the grass, like on a lie that's a little like that. I mean, whatever.
Oh
He took
yeah,
the
well,
big
no,
wide stance. He took the
Spieth,
club up.
Spieth is different. Yeah,
Spieth
we're
was
talking
different.
about.
Like his being like downhill, like with the like a long iron in his hand. Like that's. I'm amazed he just honestly was able to get that up even in the air. Like the way he was,
Put it over
where
the
that
green.
was.
Now, so
Yeah,
my
like,
other
he caught a flyer.
my question about that is, in a situation like that, don't you think there should be like a rule where like you don't have to lose a stroke and you can move the ball back like a couple feet or whatever, like a driver
Well, I think
length or something?
I think just being
It
unplayable.
like it could be like a house rule almost, like for the course in certain situations.
Maybe
Because I feel like a player's life is not something that the PGA Tour should have to worry about
well,
during a golf event.
they just. I think maybe on a cliff or something like that. But like I think it would normally just be a unplayable lie. Like that's what it would have to be. It's like you can't, like if your ball is on a tree, you're not going to climb up in a tree unless you're Sergio Garcia and then
I think
go up and hit it.
No, but I mean, we've seen it. Like they will do it.
Should like be making or should want players to be making the decision to hit that ball.
Yeah,
So,
take it out of their hands.
Protect the players, especially Jordan Spieth, who makes you probably so much money.
What about
I mean,
going back to the 3-course setup thing? I think it's stupid that was the American Express a 3-round tournament? And like, I think that's so stupid because like you don't like you realize it.
And on a Saturday.
Yeah, like a Saturday.
Palmer,
there's like
over playing with Jordan Spieth.
Yeah, and Seamus Power is like the leader. When we talk about him a little bit, he kind of collapsed. He would have like he finished like 2 shots off the lead if it finished on like if he stayed even par the last 2 days. But he's playing like this. I forget. I don't know which course it was, but there's no one on the
Monterey
course.
Peninsula.
Yeah, there's no one on the course watching him. He's the leader of the golf tournament. Like there's like not even like barely even any coverage of him.
So if I was going to that tournament, I would have totally camped out on Monterey Peninsula. Like there would be no one out there. There usually is no one out there. You would be like if Tiger was on that course, there'd be no one out there still. Just no one goes out to that golf course, I guess. I mean, I do like Spyglass a lot, so I would be okay if it being Spyglass and Pebble for like 2 rounds, and then they make
kind of like the Torrey Pines.
Yeah, kind of like Torrey Pines, but I'm Monterey Peninsula is not a bad course. It's still a really good course, but like when you add a third course into the mix, it just kind
complicates.
Also, it's because of the Pro-Am.
Yeah.
Sure.
I get with the Pro-Am, it makes sense. Like they kind of need to spread it out, but it's still like if you're checking your phone, you're like all right, let's see who made the cut, and you're like, what? They're still playing and they're 20 shots back. Like it's kind of a weird.
Yeah.
It makes it hard to pick the tournament as well, which we'll get into that a little bit later.
Yeah, that's the reason. That's the reason why we didn't do well in the tournament.
I do have one more thing to pick with Jordan Spieth. Have you seen his new swing routine? He does like a takeaway in the backswing. He does it like 3 times, and then he like steps into the ball. Kind of looks like a 25 handicapper when he does that. It looks like he's not going to hit the ball well, and he's just like absolutely striping the ball right now.
He's been doing that for I think at least a year now.
I think it's gotten like even more deliberate in the last like week or so. Like it's you really notice it.
That's when you start to think like, okay, maybe this guy's like obviously he's competing at golf tournaments, so maybe like coming down the stretch, he's a little bit in his head, like thinking about it a little too much, like kind of. I don't want to say jittery because I don't think that's the right word, but almost kind of just like. I don't know. I don't know what the right word is. Like he can't. It's just a weird thing.
Uneasy. Maybe?
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, uneasy. That's probably a better word for it.
And that's kind of just describes Jordan Spieth's game, like in general. I mean, it's just how he plays.
That describes us watching Jordan Spieth play golf, and it's legit a roller coaster. And I turned it on. I was moving to an apartment. I turned it on. I think he was on 14. He was behind a tree and to punch out. He made par that hole.
Yep.
Or 14. Yeah, I think it's 14. And then like he makes a bogey on 17, but he's just it's the roller coaster. It's the roller coaster of Jordan Spieth, that's for sure.
Yeah. So let's get into some international golf talk. There was obviously the golf tournament going over at the Saudi. We can talk about. Also, there's what's it called? The Super League. We can talk about. Which one do we
Yeah.
want to start with?
So
Let's start with the
let's start
Saudi.
off. Let's start off the Saudi. I mean, first of all, the ending of that tournament, insane. I think
Unbelievable.
we'll get into that a little bit later, just like in winners and losers. I kind of do want to talk a little bit more about like the field for that event, specifically because it's the Saudi event, and like obviously you have the Super League coming around the corner, backed by the Saudis. And it was an Asian tour event. So we had a European tour event this week, we had a PGA tour event this week, and we had an Asian tour event this week.
Yeah,
And I think the
Hoyt won the
best
European Tour.
and the best field was the Asian tour event, which is, I mean, if you've had to bet money on that, like somebody who doesn't know golf,
That oil
I
money.
know. So it's all about money for the Asian tour and the Saudi International. And I'm just wondering, like, why were there so many good players in that event? And like, what does this mean for the Super League? Will people jump at the chance to go to the Super League?
No, because if you go to the Super League, you're like, I'm pretty sure the PGA Tour said you're not playing on the PGA Tour. I think if you play in the Super League, you can probably play in the majors, which sweetens the deal a little bit. And I won't even speak on that with complete confidence because I'm not 100% sure that's true. But isn't it? Those aren't run by the PGA Tour. Like those are,
Yeah,
USGA, RNA,
yeah.
PGA of America,
Masters.
not, yeah, the Masters. So it's like, if I saw Bryson DeChambeau got, I don't know what the really the details of this were.
I mean,
but
he said
got
it
offered
wasn't true.
$135 million to be the face of the Super League. Which, what did he say
knows if
about
that's
it?
He said it wasn't true, but like
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if it is true. But
Here's the thing about that. It's like, I feel like all like the Super League, it's just backed by all this money that, like, do we know it exists? All this money, like, do we know it's there?
I mean, if they've already been going to like Saudi Arabia to play in these tournaments, like I think it exists to a certain, like, I don't know how much, like, we don't know how much of the 135 million is true. Like, if Bryson's not saying it's true,
I think it fully exists, because if you have like Saudis buying Premier League teams for $1 billion, like it's pocket change.
Yeah,
like
I guess
that
so.
means that this whole thing does exist.
I mean, Lee Westwood signed an NDA, so he's not able to talk about it when he got asked about it. It's just it's not good for the PGA Tour, no matter which way you slice it, because guys probably will leave, like guys like Lee Westwood, or guys that are getting older like that,
Phil.
or Phil, maybe Bryson if he decides to take that. I think he probably cares too much about his legacy to do that. He's already making it.
He might, but like, it's like he's also made, I mean, we've seen the decisions he's made in terms of speaking and everything like that. Like, who knows what he's gonna do?
But it's also it's also like the human rights aspect of it,
yeah,
like the
that's
sports
that's the
washing
issue with
aspect.
it.
Like that's the whole reason that they're doing this, is the sports washing and the human rights. And like, how could you say like morally be like, I'm gonna go play in the Saudi Golf League knowing why they're running this league?
Yeah, and who knows? Like obviously each person would be different, but
Wait,
like,
what am I missing?
who knows how much money like each person can say, like okay, this isn't enough to go do this, but this is, like, it's, and who knows what players will do it, who knows when, like, it's the whole thing is, I think it is trending toward it becoming a real
What were you alluding
possibility.
to there, G?
Sports washing. So have you ever heard? So like, there's big like human rights issues in Saudi Arabia, and what they
Yeah.
do is they spend their oil money on these big sporting events, so that it kind of glosses over the whole human rights issue.
Like the
And
World
people
Cup.
people see the sports and they're like, oh, sports, cool, and they just don't talk about the human right issues that there are in Saudi Arabia.
Right.
Which if you're a player in that situation, you're getting offered that money, you have to be aware of like what's going on and take it. Like, it's a tough situation just because you don't know what players are thinking. Oh, I can, like, if I take the money and do this, like that's like people are not going to like me for it. People may not like me for it, but I will make a lot of money. It's all, I think it's all moral, but I think it's trending towards becoming a real thing just because of how many players were playing in that event on an Asian Tour event, because there is so much money involved. Like that should concern the PGA Tour that more people are playing at this event. Obviously, Pebble Beach is like it's a pro-am, and that's not
I
ideal
can
at
see
3
players
courses.
hating that.
Yeah, and like which I'm not surprised they hate that, but to a certain extent, it's still you're going to Pebble Beach and you're on the PGA Tour and you're on the best tour in the world, but this Asian Tour event across the world is getting more people to play in this, and like people like Victor Hoffman was playing in Europe and Morikawa, they weren't playing at Torrey Pines. Like I don't know. It seems like it's the PGA Tour is probably, I'm sure they are very, I guess, concerned about this just because of how many people are taking the money to go over there and play in these tournaments.
Yeah.
That's my thought on it.
And then going off all that, we kind of glossed over how unreal that 92-foot eagle putt was from Harold Varner.
Yeah, I mean,
Just
do you want to take it into winners and losers?
Yeah,
Sure.
let's just do
Let's
that.
get into winners and losers. Yeah, the first winner, I mean, Harold Varner, the third. I mean, Pat, you want to explain it?
I mean, yeah, 92-foot eagle putt, had to 2-putt to tie.
Bubba was
Yeah,
leading the
Bubba.
clubhouse. Okay.
Yeah, had a 2-putt to tie. And honestly, there was a much better chance that he was going to 3-putt than make it.
Yeah.
Drained it, and like, I remember I woke up on Sunday morning, like kind of in a daze. I was a little hungover, and I like saw like 92-foot eagle putt for the win, and I was like, what is this? And honestly, I didn't really take it in until later. Like Jeek mentioned it again. I was like, oh yeah, I saw that this morning. Like, what even is that? Also, the course looks super weird with like it being in a desert, but also there was like water off the 18th hole. It's just,
Yeah. Well, it's kind of like
Saudi
Shadow,
Arabia is
Shadow
one of
Creek.
the weirder places on
Yeah.
Earth.
No, the whole putt was crazy. I think the reactions even is so cool.
Reaction was
like
awesome.
That's like he hadn't won in, I think it was 6 years, something like that.
Everyone, I
Yeah.
feel like everyone on tour like likes Harold Varner.
Yeah, everyone loves him. I think my dad even met him, and he said he was like the nicest guy in the world a couple years ago. But no, happy for him.
I mean, yeah, it has there. I've been trying to think about it. Has there been like a better end to a golf tournament than this? Like, I
Like
can't
just
really
one
remember.
putt?
Like, yeah, like a walk off, like win like that, where like it seemed so out of like it seemed like it wouldn't happen, and then
guy
all
on
of a
the
sudden
senior
that
tour.
happens.
Spieth Travelers.
At the Travelers, that's the first thing that came to my mind. But
A
like,
guy on the senior
still,
tour who holed out for Eagle to win on the 18th. But
What was that?
I mean, but like, why did this have to happen in like the Saudi International? Like, I wish this happened at a PGA
no, here's the
Tour,
thing, is
even
like that
European
field
Tour
was
event.
so good. Like it was Bubba Watson
Yeah,
and
I know,
Harold Varner
right?
down the stretch.
Yeah,
And I think
when
I
was
saw Tommy Fleetwood
But
was
imagine if that
awesome.
happened on the PGA Tour. Like this
I
just
know.
gets more
Oh,
eyes to the Saudi International, more eyes to the Asian Tour.
Yeah,
Like imagine if that happened on the PGA Tour.
Nobody
You're
that doesn't watch the PGA Tour is going to be like, oh, I'm going to watch the Asian Tour.
Well,
That's
I
not
mean, they
happening.
might if they see that the Harold Varner made a putt to beat Bubba Watson in a stacked field. Like
Nobody
you
in
might start
America
watching the eight. Like if I had the choice between the Pebble Beach and the Asian Tour event this week and the European Tour, like I may have chosen the Asian Tour
Time did
event.
it happen though?
Well, obviously, but that doesn't work out.
If all times were like if they were all going on at the same time, like you probably look at the leaderboard of the Asian Tour event and think like how like I think I saw like Answer is in top 10, Bubba is in the clubhouse with the lead. Like there are guys that and you're looking at the Pebble Beach Pro Am, and there's like, yeah, there's Jordan, there's Cantlay right there, but Tom Hoge is winning this tournament, and like Andrew Putnam with his greasy long hair is competing in this tournament. It was, you see, if you're basing it just off the leaderboard, like you're gonna watch the Asian Tour event probably. like just seeing who's up there. Like you see Bubba and like guys like Answer and Varner up there. Like people are gonna tune into that.
Yeah.
And then another winner, Jake, you wanna talk about the coverage?
Yeah. So we kind of talked about this a little bit earlier, but CBS has kind of had a pretty hot start to their golf season, I would say. The coverage has been pretty good this year. I mean, the blimp shots are pretty amazing. Not even like just the
Cool.
Jordan shot, but like just in general, they've had some really good blimp shots. And you know, the commercials haven't been too outrageous to start the year, which is like something we've complained about in the past. And like, I mean, the pro-am, they had the pro-am, they showed some of the ams, but like not really. And that's kind of what I like. I mean, like people don't really watch that for the amateurs. You show it a little bit on Thursday and Friday, but as you get into the weekend, you kind of like phase them out a little bit. So they did a good job balancing that, I think, this week. And yeah, the coverage is just pretty good.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, they did a good job of honestly not even like letting you know it was a pro-am, other than when they showed like on Saturday, like obviously like they showed pro-am shots and everything, but like down the stretch on Sunday, like you honestly, if you didn't know it was a pro-am down the stretch on Sunday, you wouldn't know that there was really amateurs playing,
Which is
unless they showed like Jake Owen playing with Spieth like occasionally, because they like that
yeah,
dynamic between them. But like Tom Hoge, you only saw the guy that he was playing with on the 18th hole when he like shook his hand after it was like great playing with you this week, and you're like, oh, that was an am. But
which how cool. Also if you're an AM, like how cool is that? Like your guy wins the tournament. Like
yeah,
you
that'd be
can
so sick,
definitely
because you
like
know
that's
that guy
so
wasn't expecting going to the week that
no.
Tom Hoge was gonna win, and he's like in
Right.
that group with them, which is
Yeah.
that
Which
is
whatever,
But
this
that's
this
so
tournament
cool.
kind of has that. Like I remember like Ted Potter Jr. like won one year. Like it
yeah.
just has like some random guys win it, but it also has big names as well.
Hmm.
It's like Spieth. Yeah.
It's a good turn on Sunday.
I mean, I do want to talk a little bit about the tournament because I'm gonna probably have it as our first loser. The pace of play of this tournament and just like the pro-am format needs a little bit of tweaking, in my opinion. I mean, I don't know if it was just me, but like the round on Sunday, I think it was like a 5.5 hour final round for the final group. It took a really long time. I think part of that is the pro-am, part of that's the golf course being like pretty long, or well, doesn't not necessarily that long, but like a lot of
Difficult for these
walks, difficult for the
amateurs.
AMs. And it's just like I think what they need to do, I'm not sure if they will ever do this because of the money that like it raises for charity, is I think they need the amateurs to not play on Sunday.
I think that
I think
makes sense.
it slows down the pace of play. I mean, there's a cut for the amateurs, and like, you know, if you have somebody like I don't know if this is like true, but say Spieth was playing with an amateur on Sunday and then Hoagie wasn't, that would be advantage Hoagie all day.
Yeah.
So like it's just a weird caveat in this tournament. I think like maybe they shouldn't play amateurs on Sunday.
I think that's kind of weird. Or I guess that's another I didn't really think about that. Another aspect that the players are playing with these amateurs and probably watching some terrible golf as they're trying to win this golf tournament. That can't be
I mean,
good for
whatever. That's
you.
what you're signing up for. But like as a
It is.
viewer of the tournament, the round seemed painfully slow
I'm sure.
for my liking.
Yep. And that'll do that with well, they're playing foursomes though. That's probably why. If it's especially with the amateurs, like it's gonna be slower with amateurs and pros trying to win golf tournaments.
No, exactly.
Phil Mickelson, we talked about I mentioned his name in the Saudi talk. Basically started beef with the PGA Tour for holding players' name and likeness rights. Not a single sports league in the world where the players own their media rights. Basically, Phil is the kind of like the figurehead, I feel like, of this whole like PGA Tour like potential split off. He's been involved in like the gambling and but and he's almost like people consider him like kind of greedy, but he's calling the PGA Tour greedy. Yeah, we wouldn't be surprised obviously if Phil was one of the ones who jumped to the Super League.
Yeah, I mean, I just think the comments that Phil made this week were a little tone deaf in a way. I mean,
Mhm.
he's kind of looking out for himself which is like fine. You have the right to look out for yourself, but like you said, like not a single sports league in the world uh is where a player has their own media rights. You know what I mean? Like if you're playing in the NFL, like you don't own any of your, it's like the express written consent of the NFL. Like they say it at the end of every broadcast. You don't
Mhm.
own any of that. And like you sign that at the beginning. And Phil's basically saying he wants to own his own media for the future, which basically means that he wants to run his own like channel and like have all his own stuff on his own channel, and the PGA doesn't get any of that, which would be like terrible for the PGA Tour, be terrible for the lesser known players. Like it would just kind of be terrible for everybody involved except for Phil. And I mean, Brooks Koepka even commented on the post saying like, I don't know if I would use the word greedy if I were Phil, because he's the one that's kind of
Yeah.
acting greedy in a way. Um, yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
it just I don't think I feel like Phil lost a lot of support this week because like he made these comments.
that
So
just comes off as so, like you said, tone deaf. It's like, come on, man. Like that's just obviously the PGA Tour and their media like rights. We could work on them just like the MLB. Like anytime like we try to post like a video or something like that, or use anything really on of the PGA
flagged right
Tour,
away. Yeah.
flag right away. And it's like,
But like I don't even think
why
that's what
not?
Phil was getting at. I think
No,
Phil
it's
was
not
getting
what,
at
no,
his
it's
own
not what he's
media,
getting at. I kind
owning
of,
his own likeness. But like it just, it just doesn't really make sense.
I think what I meant I kind of got off on a tangent there, but what I meant was just like, yeah, obviously you could work on that part of like the media, but like to give somebody their own media rights and not let anyone access it, like PJ Tour, the governing body that like signs your paycheck, that just also gave you how much money on the PIP? Like $8 million
Yeah.
dollars.
Exactly. And he's made like what, over $100 million in like earnings, probably more.
Yeah, more probably.
Yeah, it's just like it doesn't really make a lot of sense. And that's why I'm saying like I wouldn't be surprised if Phil was the one that leads the charge in the Super League and leaves. And whatever, the Super League might end up becoming like the PGA Tour champions kind of in a way, but um
Maybe.
yeah,
No,
it's just
I
it's
think the whole
interesting.
thing is, it honestly reminds me of kind of like the NIL college athletes, like with their, like the PGA Tour kind of holds like all their rights of and the same like the NCAA. I think there will be, I think there obviously will be a change, and maybe the Super League has something to do with that. Um, and like us, like I don't think it's gonna be something that like I don't think that PGA Tour would want to obviously give Phil all his rights. I think that would,
Well, it
like you
wouldn't
said, that
work
wouldn't
out
make
because they
sense.
wouldn't
It
be
wouldn't
able to
work. It wouldn't
they
make
wouldn't be
sense.
able to broadcast him at all. Like
Yeah,
he
which
he would just
doesn't.
not be a part of the broadcast. Like last year he won the PGA. We would
But
have
like,
saw zero shots from Phil Mickelson as he won the PGA. He wouldn't have
yeah,
even been talked about.
and like, and that doesn't help Phil at all either. Like that, he like that doesn't. If you're playing, especially if you're playing well in a tournament, why would you not want to be shown? Like that's people are just gonna forget about you almost to a certain degree if you're not shown on TV or anything like that. Like it just seems like you said, it's kind of, it's greedy, it's tone deaf. But like that's
Genuous.
honestly kind of what we see from Phil every now and then. Like he just makes comments like these. I mean, he's very like smart and kind of different in that sense. So I don't
Maybe
know
too
what
smart
to
for
say.
his own
Yeah,
good.
maybe. Yeah, who knows? We'll see what comes of it.
Okay, and then our last loser of the week is ourselves. The Pin High podcast picks this week at the AT&T were not great. Was I a little bit less of a loser because I got the only pick correct? Who's to say?
Because
But
Jason Day didn't make one birdie for us.
not
Grayson Sig
the
just
one
completely collapsed in the final day.
the one bet that hit was Danny McCarthy top 40, which ended
Yep.
up being a very good pick because he
Like top 10, was he?
came like top 10, yeah. So good on that. With that, let's get into skins.
All right, skins. So we have the Waste Management Phoenix Open. What did we call it earlier? The People's Major.
People's Major.
People's Major. Yeah, that was a nice
Okay.
touch there on the intro, Pat.
Yes.
Thank you.
TPC Scottsdale, the stadium course, of course. 7261 par 71. We said that a little bit earlier. It's not a very long course, but it does have the 3 par 5s, so those are important this week. I would say all of them are reachable in 2. It's kind of middle of the course difficulty list for PGA Tour courses. It's not super hard, but it's not super easy. There's some tough holes, but it does have greens that are on the larger side, which is a little bit different from last week. I'd say the greens play a little bit faster, but it is a big driver wedge tournament. Hit it long and then hit it close. But then again, like both long and short hitters have done well in the past, so I wouldn't put too much into that. Webb Simpson's won this event, but so has Brooks Koepka, Gary Woodland, Ricky Fowler, Hideki Matsuyama's won it a couple times. So yeah, there's a lot of different players. As always, strokes gain approach. I would say opportunities gain and strokes gain par 5s, because those 3 par 5s could kind of make it or break it for you. And strokes gain around the green. Figured I'd toss that one in there. There's some course horses for this course. I mentioned Ricky Fowler's played well here a lot of times, so maybe this is the tournament that Ricky Fowler wins this year. Hideki Matsuyama, 2-time winner. John Rahm's never really, unless he did last year, never finished worse than T16. And Brooks Koepka's won it twice. And then, other players of multiple top 10s, Matt Kuchar, Brendan Steele, Jordan Spieth, Gary Woodland, and Ches Reavie, our guy. So
And Gary Woodland has a win here, I think, too, right?
He does, 2018.
Yeah. Yeah, obviously, there's always some good stories coming out of hole 16. Hole 17 is actually a pretty interesting par 5 because, yeah, it's reachable in 2, like you said, but it's like an island green. So it's an interesting hole, and like whether you go for it or not. I remember was
cool
it?
Place.
Was it Doug Gim last year?
That sounds familiar.
Was doing well down the stretch, and he honestly wasn't his tournament to lose by any means, but he definitely could have won it. I remember he snap hooked one on his second shot.
Oh, I do remember that actually. Yeah,
right into the water. So yeah, no, at the moment got a little too big for him. But remember Brooks Koepka last year? Didn't he chip in on 17?
17 for eagle. Yep, from like a crazy angle too.
That was a really good tournament.
Yeah,
that was Spieth was competing. Xander. I looked at the scoreboard from last year. All Xander had to do is shoot 200 par and he wins the tournament, which makes me very sad. I did not do that.
And you're right about 16. Like, there's always something happening at 16. And this week, watch out for Max Homa. Apparently, him and JT Poston have a bet that he has to wear a Braves jersey on 16, and he's asking to get paired up together. So, P.S. If you did pair us together, that'd be cool too at PGA Tour. So I don't know if they are going to be paired up, but that'd be pretty cool if they were.
So what jersey are we guessing he wears? Acuna, Freddie Freeman?
Not Acuna.
I don't know who else.
Matzik. I'm gonna guess Matzik
because he's big on Twitter.
Yeah, and he was the pitcher, right?
Yeah, Matzik is just huge on Twitter, so I could see them like.
I know he was huge on Twitter, but that makes a lot of sense, honestly, that he would do that.
So Matzik's a dark horse for sure. I could see it.
Like betting the Gatorade color for the Super Bowl. That's another thing we have to mention. This tournament goes right into the Super Bowl every year. I kind of actually like it. So that way. So
yeah, no, definitely gonna be a good day of sports. What do we think? I'm going Acuna.
Okay. I'll say Matzik. Can I take odds on that? I need some help with the skins.
I'll probably go with Freddie Freeman just because that's a safe pick.
Yeah, it is a safe pick.
The Freddie Freeman is very
might
safe.
not be coming back. So
yeah, we'll see.
Coming
out of the lockout
over in New York.
Maybe he'll go no player. He'll embrace the lockout and just go no player in the back because players can't.
See, that would be hilarious because like I could see him doing that. Oh wow, there's a lot. We could honestly set Vegas lines on this. We should, but anyway, let's get into skins. I have honors this week. I'm at I'm up 5.24 units on the year, not too shabby. So this week, let me pull them up. I have some interesting ones. So right off the bat, just got Corey Connors and Bubba Watson, both 0.5 units on each of them. Outright, Corey Connors is 50-1, Bubba Watson's 40-1. Bubba Watson's coming off a good week. He has good course history here. Corey Connors, his only really weakness is his strokes gain around the green, and that is one of the that is the only stat that I saw on this one site that I do some research on. It was the only thing that didn't matter as much as everything else. So he's
Well,
really
if you have a good ball striking like he does, that stat doesn't really matter. He's gonna hit the
exactly
greens. So.
that as well. And his putting for being such a good ball striker and everything, he's 85th in strokes gained putting this year. That's not bad at all. Being in like that top 100, like is you're a decent putter. So gets hot with the putter. 50-1 odds is pretty crazy for Corey Connors. So I'm hoping that he gets his first dub. We've been itching for it. So going off of Corey Connors to be top 40, how much do you think? What do you think the odds on that are?
Minus 120.
Minus 120.
He hasn't played that well to start the season.
2 units to win
He is not.
1.67.
Wait, was that actually what it was? That was a complete guess, by the way.
Yeah. On my Joseph Bramlett top 20 plus 800, got 0.25 units on that. The death beam. Got KH Lee top 40 plus 120, 0.5 units on that. He did well here last year, and I don't know, top 40. He's like also like just playing pretty well this year. And then my last one is Trevor's guy, Xander Schauffele, top 20, minus 125, 1.25 units on that.
Okay, I like it. You big in the top 40, top 20 bets this week.
I am. I don't know. I was going through it at first, and I had too much on Corey Connors. I originally put 3 units on the Corey Connors top 40 bet, but I was just like, I can't. I feel like I just don't want to do that. I want to have a more elaborate board. So I went back and kind of dialed it back. But I think the Xander Schauffele one and the Corey Connors one are 2 very good bets.
Yes. What was your Xander Schauffele bet?
Top 20.
Top 20 minus 125.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
That's Trev's guy.
Oh yeah.
So I'm guess I'm next because I'm season standings. I'm up 2.41 units. So
yes. A little bit higher than me.
I kind of went opposite of you, Pat, with like my picks. I did start off with 2 top 20. So I do have Brooks Koepka top 20 plus 100. He won last year. He's won this event another time before that. It's even money, 1 unit to win 1 unit. Seamus Power kind of fell off a little bit at the end of last week, but he still finished in 9th, I believe it was. So, he's been on a really hot run. I'm going to pick him top 20 plus 120, 1 unit to win 1.2. And then this is where it kind of goes off the rails a little bit. So I'm going to start off with John Rahm, top European plus 120. Loves this golf course. It's 1 unit to win 1.2. So that's not too crazy. There is a lot of Europeans in the field, and I'm picking the favorite, I guess, for the Europeans. So
the favorite for the tournament. Plus,
and the favorite for the tournament as well.
Crazy odds every tournament.
I did that last week with Cantlay, and it almost paid off, but it didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah. I did not mention that I went 0 for 5, but is what it is. Yeah, and then the pick the guy I think is gonna win this tournament, Justin Thomas, I have outright plus 1,000. Yeah, half a unit to win 5 units on that. I just think JT played well. The last time we saw him. Yeah, I think this might be JT's tournament this year. His game kind of fits it. He reaches all the par 5s and 2. He can make a couple eagles. His ball striking has been good this year. Kind of how he's above average in length. I could see.
I definitely took a look at that.
Yeah, and I'm kind of doubling down here on JT. I'm tripling down on JT actually. So now I have it's a parlay. It's Cantlay, Justin Thomas, and Jordan Spieth to all finish in the top 10, and that's 11-1. So I have half a unit to win 5.5 on that. On all 3 of those guys to finish in the top 10. I mean, we saw Jordan play well last week. We saw Cantlay always finishes in the top 10 usually for the most part. has been pretty hot this season, and then JT's my guy to win. So I had them all finishing in the top 10 parlayed together. And then kind of similar to that, I have Rom, Cantlay, and JT a triple chance to win. It's only plus 250, but I have a half a unit to win 1.25 on that. Again, those are three guys that I could see winning this event, and I love that triple chance bet. And then my last pick, I have Cameron Davis, top Australian. It's actually plus 350, so I have half a unit to win 1.75 on that. Yeah, I mean, this doesn't have the top Australians in the field this week, so plus 350 is pretty good. Like, no, Cameron Smith's not playing, so it's between Adam Scott, Lucas Herbert, Cameron Davis, Matt Jones, and Craig Hocknell, who I've never heard of.
Yeah.
He's plus 2,500 to win top Australian. So, yeah, so I'm going with Cameron Davis to win that again. The course kind of fits his game a little bit as well. So.
Well, we all know how tripling down or doubling down on a player.
Yeah, it never works out. Yeah, again, I said this, I'm all in or all out when you spend 10 minutes to make your picks. This is what happens. But you know, if JT wins the tournament, I'll be up a lot of units. So
all right. So I'm gonna start out. You have a little bit of a theme, I guess, with a couple of my picks. Webb Simpson over Seamus Power, minus 120, 1.2 units, win 1 unit. I think Seamus Power is he's having kind of a letdown after maybe 2 of the best rounds of his life last week at Pebble Beach. And Webb Simpson obviously has great history here, winning, I think, at least once. And he's played well here before. Then I have Abe Answer over Harold Varner. Both of them coming over from the Saudi tournament. Answer finished T8, Varner obviously won. That's even money. Abe Answer over Varner, 1.3 units to 1.3 units. I think Varner has a letdown as well. And then I have KH Lee to beat Seamus Power and Lucas Glover, 0.5 units plus 180 to win 0.9 units. KH Lee obviously played well last year, and he had an insane strokes gained approach round last week. And again, Seamus Power, I think there's going to be a little bit of a letdown. So if he plays great, then that's 2 bets lost probably already. But and also I said Varner has a letdown as well. And then I'll go Gary Woodland top 20 plus 275, 0.5 units to win 1.38 units. He's played well here before. I think he could have a resurgence here. And then I'll start with Daniel Berger to win plus 2,500, 0.5 units, 12.5 units. One of the best strokes gained approach players on tour. Has played well here before, a couple top 10s. I think this could be a tournament he can win. And Xander to win. I mean, you had to have expected that. Plus 2,000, 0.5 units to win 10 units. He finished T2 last year. Could have easily won if he played decent in the final round instead of even par. And then, Giga, I also have one of those bets that you had, the triple chance. I have Xander, Berger, and Brooks, all top 10 plus 2,200, 0.5 units to win 11 units. Brooks won last year. That's the first time I've seen anything like that on there, I think that's a cool.
Yeah, all the books are starting to have stuff like that. I've seen on some other books. I've seen what was it called? Tourney specials. Any of 4 to finish in the top 5: Victor Hovland, Hideki Matsuyama, Brooks Koepka, Daniel Berger. Like, it's plus 500. But there's a lot of weird bets coming with golf, which I love that the books are bringing in some interesting golf bets. Yeah, all kind of sucker bets, but whatever.
Honestly, all I really need is just Xander to win once, and then I'm back in this thing. Just like one week, especially if I don't pick him 1 week and he wins, I'll be so upset. He'll win eventually, and when the time comes, I'll be ready.
All right. So let's get in the clubhouse to end the week, but first, a little word from our sponsor, Roback. I mean, none of us are wearing it right now, but I have one. I have my sweatshirt laying right there. I was wearing it earlier. Their sweatshirts and their hats, 2 of the best items that you can get there. They're polos. I mean, it's almost golf season. It's supposed to be 57 degrees on Saturday in New York City. Not that we play golf, but
I might play golf on Saturday. Why not?
You might have to. But obviously I can't. But to get ready for golf season, You can go to the link in our bio on Instagram, Twitter. You can go to the link in the description of the podcast. Add anything to your cart using that link, and it'll automatically have 15% off for your first purchase. Go to roback.com for more. Let's get in the clubhouse. What do we want to talk about to finish the week? Super Bowl?
Do we need Super Bowl picks maybe?
I don't know what's the.
We can talk about the Super Bowl real quick. We don't have to spend ages on it. This is a golf podcast, but Joey Butter. I think the Rams win. I think this is where the fairy tale ends for Burrow.
I can see that.
I have the Rams as well, but
I mean, like, are we all cheering for the Bengals? I'm assuming we are.
Well, Pat's got a future on the Rams, so Pat's cheering.
Oh yeah, okay.
I just think the Bengals offensive line is not good enough to stop Aaron Donald and Von Miller and everybody that they have on the defensive line. So that's the problem. That's the only issue of the Bengals roster is their line. So
yeah, well they didn't do, and yeah, they had this 9 sacks in the Titans game. I think it's gonna be. I think the Rams win. I think the Rams cover it too. That's just my personal opinion.
Could see a 3-point game though, because
I can definitely see that. With the way the playoffs have gone, we could see.
Honestly, with the way the playoffs have been going, we're gonna have somebody win on a game-winning kick as time expires.
Yeah,
probably.
Who else but Matt Gay?
So, heads or tails?
Heads, 100%.
Oh yeah.
What color Gatorade?
No, tails.
That was the next question.
No, it's heads.
Gatorade. Tails never fails. I don't know.
Tails never fails.
Right. Well, we'll circle back and we'll see who was right.
We'll see. Yeah.
Color Gatorade color. That's always a good one. I'm gonna go with the red. I think red's gonna be. I think red's. I'm looking for the odds. I can't find it.
You can go with orange.
I was gonna say orange too. It's kind of like I bet they do like an orangey yellow kind of thing, so they really can't really go wrong with whoever wins.
I think orange because if the Bengals win, they're an orange team.
Well, the Super Bowl logo is also like kind of orange.
It's also orange. Yeah, it's also orange.
Okay,
yeah.
You're talking.
So I feel like they might see that and they'd be like, all right, let's throw a curveball here. It's gonna be like blue or something.
But see, then
national anthem time. I think it's at like 1:35.
Who is it?
It hasn't been below 1:35 in like the past like forever.
All right.
I don't know.
So I found some fun bets here. So it's golf and Super Bowl, combined bets.
I see that.
So so what will be more, John Rahm first round score or Joe Mixon rushing yards?
I'd have to imagine
John.
I would go with the rushing yards at plus money.
The rushing yards, yeah, because John Rahm will probably go like, I don't know,
60 something first round.
3 under, probably 68.
I go plus money rushing yards.
Well, it would depend on what his rushing yards are at, but yeah.
There's some fun stuff
at the
like
Waste
that.
Management Phoenix Open or Cam Akers touchdowns.
I feel like you gotta go Cam Akers touchdowns, right?
Well, people get hole-in-ones at the.
Yeah, but I feel like there won't be more than one hole-in-one. There's more of a chance that Akers scores more 2 rushing touchdowns than there to be 2 hole-in-ones. So
True.
I don't know. That's just at minus 110. I would go with the touchdowns.
Where are you seeing this?
I love Cantley birdies in round 1 being more than Odell's receptions. Honestly, that's plus 175.
Cantley birdies. I think I like that a lot too.
I wish I could add that to my card.
Yeah, I didn't see that until this week. I would have picked like 3 of those this week.
Yeah, I would have too.
Next year we'll I'm gonna fill my card with these.
Yeah. Anyway, is there any other fun ones that we can throw in? Just
not really.
Anyway, I think it's gonna be the main thing. Orange Gatorade.
Yeah, that's the one.
That's the Pin High podcast is on. All right. Well, fun week going into Super Bowl week. Going the Waste Management heading straight into that. So enjoy that. I'm sure everybody will be watching, both going into each other that listens to this podcast at least. So see you next week.